I was talking about valleys, like being in the valley and on the mountaintop being, your success or your goal. We're not meant to stay on those mountaintops. And it's when we go through the valleys that really kind of defines you as a person. That's where you learn and grow the most. When you're in those storms, whether it's financial or whatever, recognizing that it's purposeful. You're not just going through it because you're getting crapped on, right? Excuse my language. Because that's what it feels like, right? You can go from the mountaintop and fall into a gorge just in, a half a day. But that's going to happen and it should happen. And if you were to define life, what do you stand for? That can go back to your goal. It's going to get crappy. You're going to have tons and tons of bad stuff happen, but everyone else does. You're not unique in that perspective, but you can be unique in how you deal with it and how you grow from it. Those are the three things I would say, just persistence, and then recognize when you're on the mountaintop and go find the next peak to climb. Don't get stuck there. And that's where a lot of people, and I'll just use Hollywood because it's a really easy industry. Everybody can relate to it, where you see the downfall of some stars. They don't know, they're like at that eBay level, right? They don't know where they can go, or maybe they have, they can't land a job or whatever. And pick any industry. We're all susceptible to that risk, but just keep going. And there's always people out there that can help, but they can't help you unless you reach out and ask for the help. And I think that's where a lot of people fall in depression. They don't really know how to help, or for whatever reason, something's pinned them, and they don't. They just can't get past that. There's always help there, whether it's financial or consulting or YouTube videos, books. I listen to podcasts all the time. I want 80% of the stuff that I'm putting in to be mostly good, right? So that way I can spew that back out. But it really does define you over time. So you need to know where you're going. That doesn't necessarily mean you have one path. You expect to be all over the forest and the valley, right? You expect it to be rain and thunderstorms and go through mudslides and get hit by cars and,
Try not to get hit by cars.
You're going to get trampled on. But sometimes at some point you're going to come out on that peak. And as long as you can recognize that and have gratitude for where you came from, you're going to be fine. If we were to summarize this entire message, I think that's it. But be good. Be good. There's always people out there that need your input, need resources, need your time. You can leave the world better. And I got really philosophical this year when I hit that 40, right? Mm-hmm. And my thing was I needed to start looking for opportunities that I felt like I could probably help other people that are probably heading down the path that I was going on. And maybe that I could start to be a mentor to the mentors that I never let go of their pant coats or their suit coats, jackets, pants, whatever.
Whatever the analogy that you need there.
Neckties.
Yeah.
Some of them were trying to beat me off. But I think for me, it's all about leaving the world better than you found it, and that's kind of my new symbol, I guess, is what I would when I die someday. There'll be a legacy of inspiration, and I never need recognition, because at the end of the day, it's really about, who loves you and how you helped and did you make the world better.
You talk a lot about listening to audiobooks and everything, and I think in today's day and age of happy-go-lucky motivational sayings on Instagram and things of that nature, as you're scrolling through, can you talk about the difference between getting inspired and actually acting on it?
Yeah, I mean, anything can be inspiring, like music, it's music, tones, audio background. Yeah. You get those endorphins rolling, funny meme, whatever. Yeah. I look at tons of memes, meme connoisseur. So we...
That's what I'm going to just put as the title. It's like, Brad, meme connoisseur.
Yeah. When you get inspired, if you can apply that towards something, whether that's helping somebody or something that's that you're working toward, and do the work. Like you can't just think of something and wish it into life, right? And I know there's books out there that The Secret. I want $1 million. Oh, hey, thanks. That's not really how it works, right? You actually have to work. You have to work at that, right?
Yeah.
So, but you have to have a plan, and I think that if you are inspired, go. Use that to inspire somebody else. If you ever get down, help somebody. It immediately pulls your focus off yourself, and then a lot of times the stuff that whatever you're down about goes away. It's meaningless, or But yeah, you have to work hard at whatever you want. So use the inspiration. But that's the nice thing about inspiration; it's all out there. But never let it get bland, right? Like if you're not, I think maybe that's how to summarize that. in my life, if something's repetitive and I'm not using it for good, then it's just another thing, and I have to go find the next thing.
That actually leads me to the other question I was going to ask, your definition of happy, because it turns like, to me, you're talking about peaks and valleys, and and you were talking about even within one day, it could be, or a half a day, you go from a peak to a valley. If somebody were to ask you, are you happy right now? What would your answer be?
I would say, yeah. But if you would have asked me 90 days ago, I would have said no. It would have been depending on what was going on and where my focus was. I have to reevaluate all the time. Like, it's a constant battle. I'm no different from anyone else. For me, I've just kind of figured out how to get back on track, and I call it the straight and narrow. The more aligned I am with the straight and narrow of what my emphasis or my perspective of being good is, the happier I am. And there's a lot to that. There's a lot of different levels to that, like my family, my kids, my, extended family, core values of what we're doing in business, projects, happiness there. But it all, for me, it's just helping people.
I love how that also ties into what you were talking about in the very beginning of the podcast, where like getting towards who you are as a person, but also having that be a reflection of the business that you run.
Right. And you don't really have to sell that, because people see it, and I think that's the easiest thing you could ever do. Yeah.
And you're like, and don't even have to sell it right now, because it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. All I have to do is look.
So how can they find you?
Twitter is a huge. People reach out to me all the time on Twitter. It's just Brad Needfeld, NIETFELDT. Social media is probably where I would say go.